Hey kids, welcome to Unit 1, Lesson 2, Number 2 in the Java Lab. Investigate and modify. Run the program to observe what it does and make the following changes to the program. Run the program after each change to observe the result. So this looks like one of our investigate modify models. We're just going to look around, make some changes, and that'll teach us some important things here. Looking over here at our code, taking a moment, this looks just like the code from our last lesson. We have our import statement, we have our class header, we have our method header, and then it looks like we're creating a new object because remember, Java is object oriented, so we are making a painter object. We're creating our own version of that called myPainter, and that's going to do some different things here. And if you're looking at this and it's a little confusing here, it's going to make a lot more sense when we get into data types. But think back to APCSP whenever we had to declare a new variable. In JavaScript, we used a var term and we declared whatever we want, an array, a variable, whatever we wanted to do. In Java, we're going to have different data types we're going to learn about. Int, doubles, booleans, strings, and this is another type. We can actually declare the object as a type of variable. So this is basically, if you were looking at this in JavaScript, this would say something like variable myPainter equal blank. Here it's saying object myPainter, that's the name of the variable, is a new object of that painter class. Then we have some curly braces, and we're going to learn we can actually import some constructors in there, but that's down the road. Down here, this object is doing whatever we want to do here. So move, take, paint, all that stuff. But before we get too crazy, let's run it and see what happens. Looks like we got some bugs. So it said reach the end of the code while parsing. That's a very annoying word you're going to see a lot here. We couldn't compile your program. So it looks like we have some errors. What do you think caused these errors? Well, it's running through saying it couldn't compile it, so it's saying something's missing. And if you think back to any of your other coding classes, you know we have two different types of errors. We have a syntax and we have a logical type error. And this one definitely looks like a syntax, means something's wrong, so it can't run. It's pointing to this little curly brace right here at the end, and that usually means you're a curly brace short. And if we look here at number 2, we can see on line 17, we need to add a curly brace. Right off the bat, let's just take a minute. This is going to be one of the very frustrating parts about Java, is just the syntax of everything. You can write hundreds of lines and it won't run because you're missing one semicolon or one curly brace. That's why the debugging is very important. A little trick here, if you actually highlight the braces, it'll tell you where it closes at. So this one opens the whole entire class that we're going to do here. This one is opening the method in which it's going to do. And you can see these are both highlighted. So this is telling me I don't have a curly brace really for the big one over here. So it's just picking it up as this second one, not the big one. So I need another curly brace. Let's go ahead and hit run and see what happens. Looks pretty good. It ran, myPainter did what it said, moved, took the paint, turned left 3 times, so it's pointed down. We're going to add the following code and run it and see what happens. They want me to add myPainter.move without any of these little curly cues at the end. I'm going to type it just like that new object I created, myPainter. I'm going to do .move. I'm pretty sure it's not going to work because I know I need these little parentheses. These are going to hold different things. We could do turn, maybe 45, just like we did in JavaScript. So I know these are very important in coding. And semicolons, those are always important. Those are like our periods. I know I need those, but let's run it, see what happens. We got an error. And it's telling me right here what the errors are. First, it's telling me that this is not a statement. So how this is written right here isn't in the correct format for it to work. So this dot move isn't calling the right thing. That's not the right statement. Second part is saying you're forgetting a semicolon. You need it over there. So it's telling me exactly what I need to do in order to fix this. We're going to add our braces and our semicolons, see if that's what fixes it. And there you can see it worked just like it should. My painter now moved forward instead of just stopping. What are the big key takeaways for this lesson? Well, the first is going to be syntax. And one of the first ones we're going to be working with are these curly brackets. And these curly brackets enclose different statements. So whenever you open something, you need to close it. Again, think back to JavaScript and if statements or for statements. Those are something we had to open and close within those brackets. So it should be familiar towards you. It's very often easy to miscount where we're at with the brackets. And a big hint I'll tell you right now is when you're typing out your code, start with the empty brackets, enter some spaces, then type in your code. It'll save you a lot of headaches of getting this error. Next thing we learned is whenever we need to call one of these modifiers, and that's what we're going to learn that they are here in the next couple of lessons, it needs to have these parentheses and a semicolon. And we're going to learn in the future that these parentheses will hold more specific commands or constructors, and the semicolon is just like a period. Again, just to reiterate, there's going to be two types of errors we get in here, syntax and logical. Syntax, your program doesn't run. Something's spelled wrong, done wrong. A logical, it runs right, just not as you intended. So keep that in mind. Well, that's all for this video, kids. Hopefully you found it helpful. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. See you later, kids. Bye, bye, bye.